I want to go back to a time in your life, even before this, when your career first started. And it's something that business school people and students have spoken to me about many times, the courage that it took to be a replacement player and the decision to do that with MLB during the strike back in the 90s and the impact that it had. I knew about you as a big leaguer, and I knew that you were not a part of the union because you were a replacement player. And it didn't change anything about you as a player, the way we evaluated you, whether we wanted you on the team, whether you were too expensive, how much we loved you, and how much I loved you personally. But that's a big decision that you made. Tell me, in your head, were you thinking about life in your 20s, 30s, and 40s and your career in MLB when you're doing that? Or are you thinking about, dinner tomorrow night?
No, so I don't really like talking about this, to be honest with you, but I'm going to address it just to tell you exactly the factual stuff because you get labeled just like in anything, and no one knows the story, right? You
I
get
want
labeled.
people to know the story.
So the moral of this story is that as an undrafted player in an organization, when I came out of the 1993, the St. Paul Saints, and we were signed with three other players, myself, John Thoden, Rick Hertensteiner was a center fielder for $5,000. So we might have got $800. The Saints take 25% by the time all is good. And you're basically signing for, and that's a real story, a $500 check. And now you go into the spring training, there's 200 dudes in teal helmets, and half of them are from Dominican Republic and Venezuela and all over the country. And you're just little dude here, just like coming out of the Northern League with 265 and 30 RBIs. It wasn't like I was a four-hole hitter for the Northern League. We had Leon Durham, we had dudes. The strike happens. Well, what is that? What is a strike? Who knows anything about a strike, right? So you're playing baseball. You're not a big league player. You have no idea. Well, some organizations made you play in these spring training games. This isn't crossing a line. This isn't like we had white picket fences and signs going, hey, go MLB and FedEx Express workers. And it's nothing to do with that. And so what happens is my uncle played in the big leagues, Wayne Nordhagen. We've been a Union family our whole life. This was not about anything. It was about if you don't play, you're gone. Simple as that. So there's no like, I had to make a choice. This was like, hey, I got $1 million in my bank. I'm a first round pick. If I make it to, I'm not supposed to be in the big leagues. So they asked a bunch of us to go cross, they say the line. There's no line. Renee Lashman was the manager there. We played over there at Space Coast Stadium. And the dudes that were on this list that would go play in a game, and you go over there and got two at bats, played a game. I don't know if I was 0 for 2 or 1 for 2. It has nothing to do with anything. No big deal. You come back over. Holy cow, this is the big league clubhouse. Wow, this is amazing. Great. There's a strike going on for Major League Baseball. There's guys making $10 million. If anybody that goes over there and plays, blah, 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 they're all, brave with $60 million in the bank. Come talk to daddy if you got a problem, right? That's the way I felt like, it's easy to be big boy when you got all the dough. Are you hungry, though? You're not hungry. There's dudes over here hungry. There's dudes over here that have nothing to lose, right? So when they say Samson, Millar, Bob, Tom, you're playing in this game, you come back over, fast forward now 4 or 5 years, because nobody has tomorrow's sports page. We always think we do, but nobody has tomorrow's sports page, right? And now I make the big leagues, and now you're considered a replacement player? What does that mean? You know how many times, man, I put Tony Burns on, I'm going to put him in the back of our thing, because they start popping off, and then you use some bad words that to this day, I will knock dudes' teeth out. If the word scab, you hear that, what does that mean? What does that mean? You want to hear my story, or do you want to fight? So that was always the way I felt, like, because you got a bunch of yippers and yappers, and they didn't know the story, how it really goes. So there's no line, there's no crossing, there's no picket lines. I didn't reap benefits of the Major League Baseball, played 3 years, then the strike happened, and I crossed over this line. There was nothing like that. There was 200 minor league players. Some organizations didn't let any of their organizations, minor league players, play, and some there might have been 5 or 6 that made you play. And if you didn't, you were working at Wendy's. It's a simple story. Did it affect me? Never. Never. What it did, they held my licensing money. They take your licensing money. So that's the real nuts and bolts of the story. And
that's the financial part, was the licensing money, which is when you're in the union, there's licensing money and NIL. It's the original NIL money, actually, that gets distributed to players. But what was fascinating to me is going into a clubhouse with you in '02. Nothing, no difference. And I was sensitive to it because I was wondering what was going to be the interplay. Are there ramifications? And the fact is, you are the type of player and the type of person where the story you just told, and now you're in the media, it's so important to tell your story because in the absence of information, people fill the void with uncertainty, craziness, and assumptions that are all wrong. And so I wanted you to tell people what the story is because my experience with you was you were exactly what you just said. You are that person, you are that leader. And it was not you never deciding that you wanted to take a stand, some sort of political labor stand. This is you dancing for your dinner in an industry where almost nobody gets to eat.
Yeah, it's and there was players that we ran into it a couple of times that are now friends and we befriended and stuff. But there's a lot of popping off that goes on, right? And there's a lot of judgment, and that's society that we live in now. But back then it was different, and it was still we just spring training. Then you have the union meeting. They'd ask you to leave. One time they asked me to leave, which I never left. I sat right there because I always felt my one quality, I might not be able to run, field, hit, or throw and all the stuff, but I know one thing, I could lead. And I led, and those teams that I was on, and every team we went to, we won. And I was a factor to grabbing a group of 25 dudes from different places and egos and playing winter ball in Mexico, Dominican, Puerto Rico. I have nothing to lose. Who are you going to talk smack to about my story? You want to walk in these shoes, pimp? Then come on, I'll take you for a ride. But I wasn't the first round pick in the big leagues in 2 years and then signed a big $50 million deal. I mean, there's guys I played 12 years in the big leagues, made $20 million in 12 years. There's dudes that make that in a year, right? I got buddies Lackey and Buckholes, and we all live next door in Arietta. Like, they make that what I made 12 years in 1 year. I had to work 12 minutes after I got released by the Cubs in 10. That's cool, but that's who I am. That's my story. But I tell you what, it gave me the ass. That was the one thing, because I'm a lovable, nice guy. Everybody's got a snapping point, but that was the one thing going through my career. If I felt a little just gossip and just kind of like, I was always a guy to kind of front it. You got a problem? No, I was just wondering, like, well, yeah, I'll tell you my story, but don't sit over here and pop off. And it happened in dugouts to different guys.
Did you feel like it happened with us? Did you feel like on that team that happened?
No, not on our team. I mean, one guy.
I didn't see that happen.
No, we had one instance, but no big deal. Mark Cotsey and all the guys, our player reps, I mean, they knew me. I came up. So if you know Millar, then it's not even a story. If you don't know Millar, then it was like, oh yeah, you get linked in all these names and all these things and all a replacement player. And that's where it would rub my ass the wrong way. So it was something I dealt with my whole career. Maybe once a year there'd be a pop off. Now I'm a 53-year-old grown man, with father of four. So now it doesn't affect anything.
I'm sorry, Kevin. Are you now playing the good father of the year?
I am a self-proclaimed
responsible guy. Hold on, is that what you're saying?
7 years self-proclaimed father of the year, back-to-back husband of the year in 13 and 14. My wife asked me what happened 10 years ago.
I need to stop the show. I have to, because if Kevin's going to say he's husband of the year and father of the year, then I'm not sure where to go with that. It's like a mic drop.
It's the best Instagram come in ever. Self-proclaimed 7-time father of the year, back-to-back husband of the year. Locking on that. People go, really? Where'd you get that? I said that.
You're Kevin Millar. And there's no way she believes that. Anyway,
nope. She doesn't.
I'm going to gain my composure because I've never been nominated for Father of the Year. Certainly not Husband of the Year, not even a husband anymore. But I certainly thought that I had next to me Kevin Millar. It turns out I don't.